Hello everyone. We will be discussing about sociology even today. In my previous classes on class 12, we started with a new topic which was on the unit 5 and we discussed about the tribes of Nagaland, right? And we had a small introduction about the shifting cultivation, right? And we also discussed about the process on how this shifting cultivation is been done, right? So those are some of the things which we have discussed. And we have also, had a small conclusion about, the ecological imbalance which it creates, right? And we also have some arguments saying that, because of the geographical location, this kind of farming is also being adopted, okay? And it is not just some occupation or it is not just some economic, economic gain, okay, that they are doing such kind of practices, but it is also very much related to their social life, right? So that is what it means here, okay? So such kind of practices were found, among the tribals of Nagas, okay? And most of them do, prefer the shifting cultivation, which we discussed in the last class, okay? So it says that it is not a necessary evil, but an organic response of the people to a specific ecological conditions, okay? So that is the reason why, this is one of the reason why, okay, this is a natural response, to the ecological, system which is found in those particular areas, in those mountainous and hilly areas. And that is the reason why we cannot do away with this, okay? And we just have to improve those, things which is available to the people who are living in the mountainous areas and those people who are practicing shifting cultivation. Now, here, that is the reason why, shifting cultivation is a way of life, okay, rather than just a method of producing food for the people, okay? It's a way of life. It's like a culture for them. Now, the thing is, how do you improve? There are some suggestions which is given here, okay, which is in your page number 67. If you can kindly open your textbooks, okay, kindly refer to page number 65, okay. In the first point, it talks about, the proper land use, okay, based on land capabilities. Depending on what the land can produce, okay, we can make some proper survey about the soil, what kind of food or what kind of agriculture can be practiced, okay, in that particular area, okay. So with that proper study, with that proper survey which we can make, through this, it can enhance, the productivity for the farmers as well. That is your first point. The second point is, okay, wherever possible, okay, in those mountainous areas, okay, where shifting cultivation is practiced, okay, or even those hilly areas, okay, where the shifting cultivation is practiced, okay. Now, what happens is that, as much as possible, people needs to be encouraged to do terrace cultivation. The next topic that we are going to discuss is about the terrace cultivation here, okay. So wherever possible, okay, terrace cultivation should be encouraged among the people, okay. Why? Because there is less, ecological, imbalance which has been created by this, okay, by terrace cultivation. The next is cropping pattern. In a plot of land, you can divide it, and then you can grow different types of crops, okay, or maybe, mixed groups also, okay. For example, in this plot of land, okay, in this particular plot of land, you can mix some, plants, okay. For example, vegetables, here maybe, a small portion, some potatoes, along with that maybe some carrots, cabbage, everything, right? So in that way, mixed cropping can also be done. That is what it means here. Now, as a result, soil is always covered, okay. Means, it's not just, we don't need to leave the land barren or, left without use just like that, else we can use this land, okay, for, planting even other crops as well. Now, productivity should be improved, right? How do we, enhance the productivity here? Like I've said, survey should be made. But the important thing is that, even today, traditional tools are used in order to do farming. This can be replaced by, proper, mechanized or better tools, okay, in order to do the farming. Or also, using of good manures, okay, like in order to enhance the quality of the soil, you can use manures, okay. For example, the cow dungs, etc., right? And also fertilizers, weeds and pest control measures should be used, okay, so that it will, contain the, what do you say, soil, or it will do away with the pests or weeds, okay, all those small grasses and everything, so that in order to control all those things, if they can control those things, it can enhance their productivity. Now, the next is, we can also use various alternatives for shifting cultivation. For example, horticulture can be promoted, animal husbandry, okay, or even keeping poultry, okay, poultry farming, everything, those kind of things can be, practiced on the land which the shifting cultivation is done. So alternative source should be, encouraged to the people. And the last one is, finally, okay, long range of solution to the problems, okay. For example, building proper infrastructural facilities, to those mountainous and hilly areas, better education, electricity if it is not available, or maybe fluctuation of electricity. Even in, the urban areas, there are lots of electricity, fluctuations, which results in a lot of losses in the economic production. So all those facilities can be availed by those people, who are practicing the shifting cultivation. So those kind of things should be encouraged in order to, improve the shifting cultivation here. Now, that is the reason why, this shifting cultivation cannot be done away with from the people. Why? Because it is very much attached to them, okay. Now, the next point that I would like to discuss with you is about the terrace cultivation. Now, like we have discussed during the tribals, when we discuss about the tribals of Nagaland, okay, we have discussed that, Angamis and, most of the Chagasangs also, practice this terrace cultivation, okay. Now, what is this terrace cultivation here then, okay? Now, terrace cultivation is mostly, about the, a type of farming where they produce, vegetables and also other types of, rice, pulses, etc. But here, the land, for example, this is a small hilly area, the land has been, what do you say, cut down a little bit, okay, based on the area which is available to them, okay, and then, the land is cultivated in such a manner, okay, where, it forms like a terrace, a flat surface, okay, and this flat surface, is where the irrigation is being done, okay. So in the mountain areas, we can see something like this, right? Yeah, though my art is not very good, okay. This is how, we can see in the mountains, right? So, right, it looks very beautiful also, right? We have seen it in the photos and everything. So this kind of cultivation is being done, okay, terrace cultivation, okay. The fields are permanent here. The terrace cultivation, the fields are permanent, okay, and they are used for cultivation every year, okay, every year. Now, and some cases, okay, in some cases, the locals, they call it as pani kheti, okay, or wet cultivation. Why is it called as pani kheti? Or, pani kheti just means, pani means water, kheti means the fields, right? So, wet cultivation, because crops are cultivated in the field with standing water. See, for example, this is a field here, okay. Now, what happens is that they will build small barriers, okay, like a small kind of a wall, okay. Now, these walls are made, okay, and there are some stones which are put, or even the mud is being put around so that the water stays, inside the field, during the time of this, during the practice of this terrace cultivation, okay, so that the crops may, grow, healthy. And this is the practice which has been done, and that is the reason why they call it as pani kheti, or, okay, pani kheti, or it is also called as the wet cultivation, okay. Water is being stored in that small area, okay, where a small barrier or a wall is built surrounding that small, field, okay, and it may be confined to different fields as well, okay. In that way, the water can be shared from one field to another field, okay, and this kind of sharing can be made, when there are slopes also. That is the reason why this kind of, cultivation is also called as the pani kheti here, okay. Now, preparation of terrace cultivation. How do you prepare? What is the process here? Okay, first is cutting the slopes of the hill, which I've mentioned, right? You have to cut the slopes of the hill a little bit, okay? And what does it do here? Okay, and it try to make it like a terrace, like a flat surface, okay? Now, the next step is to build walls, okay? Walls in the sense it's not that tall, okay? Like it may be around 2-3 feet, okay? So in that manner, okay, the walls of the terrace are built and are reinforced by stones, surrounding that particular field, so that the water may, remain standing, okay, for the crops to grow. Whenever the crops are growing, okay, the water will stay in the field, okay. So the cutting of the slopes, okay, may vary from 2 feet to 100 feet also, okay, depending on the area, okay. So depending on the area, the breadth of the terrace, varies, okay. So the third point is about the irrigation of water, okay. So the irrigation of water should be, there should be a source where you can get enough of water for the field, okay, and it will be irrigated to the field and it transfers from one to the other, okay. That way, this kind of cultivation is being practiced, okay, and water is one of the very important source for terrace cultivation here. Now, we have learned about the cutting, building of walls, now irrigation of water. The next is, once everything is done, okay, once prepared, used for cultivation every year. So in this manner, okay, this kind of practice has been done, and thus, the batty and everything has been put, and then, it will be ready, for for harvesting within some few months, okay. Now, after this, okay, what do they do with the field, okay? Right after the harvesting, okay, they prepare for the next season, okay? They prepare for the next season, yes? They follow the same pattern, but let's go a little bit detail about this now. Now, how do we prepare this, okay, for the next season? Preparation for cultivation begins soon after the crops are harvested, like I've told you, okay? Now, what do they do here, okay? They first dig the field, okay? Why? Because there are some weeds, okay, or even the stems of the paddy or the rice, the rice plant is still here, so that they will dig all those things, okay, but the soil or the earth will be kept just there like that, okay. They will just, dig the earth, okay, and keep it there, okay, so that, with the help of sunlight, the stems and the weed will die, okay, and thus, the soil is retained, okay. The next step is that in order to enhance the quality of the soil, sometimes manures are also used, such as cow dung and everything, okay, so that they will enhance the quality of the soil. Now, actual cultivation begins, okay, so they dig the field. Actual cultivation begins soon after the rain, okay, means they need sufficient of water in the field. That is the reason why the cultivation begins, okay, when the rainy season starts. That is what it means here. Now, fields are flooded with required amount of water. They pour the water in the field, okay, they irrigate water into their fields so that, okay, the water will stay in the field, okay, so that it will decompose, okay, those dead stems or even weed which is there, okay. And after that, what do they do here, okay, they start to, it is called as budding, okay, Puddling, buddling or budding, okay. So buddling has been done here, okay. What does it mean here? A small pool of liquid, especially rainwater is being made. It looks like a pool, okay. And with this help, okay, they decompose the weeds which is there, okay. Now, seedlings are grown in a small field, okay, seedlings, okay, so that all those seeds are being sown here, okay, and then the seedlings are kept in a small plot of land, and this will be transported to the fields where they are keeping the water there, okay, where they have irrigated the water, okay, and the water is stored there. Now, the seedlings are transported here, okay, and then that is how they start sowing the seedlings, okay. Now, after transplantation, okay, after they put the seedlings and everything, okay, they used to clean, or they used to clean all the weeding, we just call it weeding, okay. So they take out all the weeds and they try to clean at least 2 to 3 times, okay, in order to clear the field. And thus, within 4 months, okay, the harvesting season starts, okay, and they have a, after this, okay, most of the terrace fields, okay, are used to raise only one crop most of the time. But now what happened is that today, we can find that most of the farmers, in Nagaland, they also used to produce other, other vegetables other than just rice. Okay, for example, potato. Okay, it is very much practiced among the villagers. Okay, right after they are done with the harvesting, they also cultivate potato here. Okay, now the important features of wet cultivation is it requires a assured standing water. Yes, water is very, very important for them. Okay, now after this, okay, what happened is that you also need what do you say, forest. Okay, you also need proper forest nearby the terrace cultivation so that the water is stored and they get they get water from the nearby areas, which will be provided by the forest. Okay, and that is the reason why ecological balance is being built. Okay, there should be a proper balance between the terrace cultivation and the forest which is available there, and so that it will be very helpful for the environment as well as for the people as well. So that is the reason why terrace cultivation is very much encouraged among the people. Okay, and it is not just about the forest here. Also, there are lots of culture and social, attachment which is there. Okay, why? Because the people, who lives nearby the villages, or for example, the relatives who lives in town nearby the villages, they come and give them a helping hand during the time of cultivation, during the time of harvesting also. Okay, and that is the reason why it is a very important, feature. Okay, in order to lead a community life. The community life, the feeling of unity among the people is also shared through terrace cultivation by by giving them helping hand to each other. Okay, in this particular manner, okay, the whole village participates, the whole community participates, or even each and every member of the family is very much helpful in the practice of this terrace cultivation. And along with that, there are some cultural festivals which is followed up, which sometimes even goes for days. Okay, after the time of harvesting or after the sowing of the seedlings and everything. Okay, so such kind of practices can also be seen. Okay, so that is the reason why it is not just to do with some economic production or some food production, but it is very much related to their social life as well. Okay, the community life, and also it brings joy. They share the joy and love with each other through this kind of terrace cultivation. That is the reason why it is not just to do with the food production for the people. Okay, now here it says that planting and harvesting are associated with festivals and celebrations. See, harvest festivals last several days, right? Because of this rejoicing and celebration. All these topics that I have discussed with you is given in your page number 68 and 69. So when everything to do with terrace cultivation is given in those particular pages. Okay, the last point is, thus terrace cultivation is not just a matter of growing food that I've mentioned, but a complex social activity where the whole society comes together and work, okay, for the for this particular cultivation. So it is not just to do with one individual's activity, but the whole society takes part in this cultivation. Okay, so with that, I would like to conclude our classes for today. Thank you so much.